එවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහෙරති 제තවනේ අනාථ පින්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අභික්ඛන්තාය රන්තියා අභික්ඛන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං 제තවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං තිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාතාය අංජබාසී බහුදේවා මනුන්සාච මංගලානි අචින්තයොං ආකංකමානා සොන්තානං රෝහි මංගල මුන්තමං අසේවනාච බාලානං පණ්ඩිතානංච සේවනා පූජාච පූජනීයානං ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං අතිරූපදේශවාසෝච පුම්බේච කත පුඤ්ඤතා අන්ත සම්මා පනිදිච ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං බාහු සංචංච සිම්පංච විනයෝච සුසිංකිතෝ සුභාසිතාච යාවාචා ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං මාතා පිතු උපට්ඨානං පුන්තදාරංස සංඝෝ අනාකුලාච කම්මන්තා ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං දානංච ධම්මචරියාච ඥාතකානංච සංඝෝ අනවංජානි කම්මානි ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං ආරති විරති පාපා මංජපානාච සංයමෝ අප්පමාදෝච ධම්මේසු ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං ගාරවෝච නිවාතෝච සන්තුන්තිච කතං යුතා කාලේන ධම්ම සවනං ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං කන්තිච සෝව චන්සතා සමනානංච දන්සනං කාලේන ධම්ම සාකච්ඡා ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං තපෝච බ්‍රහ්මචරියංච ආරිය සංචාන දන්සනං නිබ්බාන සංචිකිරියාච ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං පුන්තංස ලෝක ධම්මී චින්තං යන්සන කම්පති අසෝකං විරජං කේමං ඒතං මංගල මුන්තමං ඒතාදිසානි කන්වාන සම්බන්තමපරාදිතා සම්බන්ත සොන්තිං ගච්ඡන්තිතං තේසං මංගල මුත්තමන්ති ඒතේන සංච වන්දේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වන්දේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං ඒතේන සංච වන්දේන හෝතු තේ ජය මංගලං කරණීයමන්ත කුසලේන යන්තං සන්තං පදං අபிසමිංච සක්ඛෝජෝච සෝජෝච සුවචෝචං සමුදු අනතිමානි සන්තුන්සකෝච සුභරෝච අම්පකින්චෝච සල්ලහුකවුන්ති සන්තින්ද්‍රියෝච නිපකෝච අම්පගම්බෝකුලේසු අනුනුගින්දෝ නචකුන්දං සමාචරේකින්චි යේන විඤ්ඤූ පරේ උපවදෙයෝ සුඛිනෝ වාකේමිනෝ හන්තු සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා ඒකේචිපාන භූතන්ති තසවාතාවරාවා අනවසේසා දීඝාවායේ මහන්තාවා මංජිමාරංසකානුකතුලා දිත්ථාවායේව අන්දින්තා යේච දුරේ වසන්ති අවිදුරේ භූතාවා සම්භවේසීවා සම්බේ සන්තා භවන්තු සුඛිතන්තා නපරෝ පරං නිකුම්බේත ඥාති මඤ්ඤේත කන්ත චිනං කංචී ව්‍යාරෝසනා පටික සංඥා ඥාඤ්ඤ මඤ්ඤංස දුක්ඛමිච්ඡේය මාතායතානියං පුන්තං ආයුසා ඒක පුන්ත මනුරංකේ ඒවම්පි සම්බභූතේසු මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණං මෙත්තංච සම්බලෝකස්මින් මාන සංභාවයේ අපරිමාණ උන්දං අදෝච තිරියංච අසංභාදං අවේරං අසපත්තං තින්ඨංචරං නිසිංනෝවා සයානුවායාවතන්ස විගතමින්දෝ ඊතං සතින් අදින්ඨේය බ්‍රහ්මමේතං විහාරං ඉදමාහෝ දින්ඨින්ච අනුපගම්ම සීලවා දන්සනීන සම්පන්නෝ කාමේසු විනීයගේදං නහි ජාතු ගම්බසේයං පුනරේති ඒවං මේ සුතං ඒකං සමයං භගවා සාවන්තියං විහරති ජේතවනේ අනාථ පින්ඩිකංස ආරාමේ අතකෝ අඤ්ඤතරා දේවතා අභික්ඛන්තාය රන්තියා අභික්ඛන්තවන්නා කේවල කම්පං ජේතවනං ඕවාසෙන්වා යේන භගවාතේනුපසංකමී උපසංකමින්වා භගවන්තං අභිවාදෙන්වා ඒකමන්තං අන්තාසී ඒකමන්තං තිතාකෝසා දේවතා භගවන්තං ගාථාය
Namo Buddhaya, brothers and sisters in the Dharma. Very good morning to all of you, brothers and sisters out there. Happy to have our Dharma friends who have joined us outside the Klang Valley, out of Selangor State and out from Malaysia, joining us on another online Sunday's Buddha Puja service. Hello to our Dharma friends. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu that you are spending the Sunday morning for the Buddha Puja service and to listen to a Dharma talk with your families and friends. To constantly washing the dust from our eyes. I'm sure today we will have another interesting and enlightening talk. During the Buddha Puja service, remember to have a calm mind. And many of you may like to prepare a candle or oil lamp or any other offerings to offer at your altar. Wait for the announcement to light the candle together with Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. To those who have just joined us for the very first time, welcome to Subang Jaya Buddhist Association number 60 online Sunday Buddha Puja service. We have been organizing this weekly puja service in order to give an opportunity to Buddhist devotees near and far to continue with the Buddhist faith and practices, an opportunity to listen to the Dhamma during this COVID-19 period. Let us prepare ourselves by sitting comfortably, relax our bodies, compose our mind, let go of thinking about the past and future, and be at the present moment. I shall now hand over to the Puja leader, Sister Anne.
Thank you, Brother John. Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Let us begin with our Sunday Buddha Puja service. With respect, may we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to make the offerings to the Buddha. Good morning, Bante. Namo Buddhaya. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, you may also light your candles or oil lamps. For the other devotees, let us place our palms together in Anjali and contemplate mindfully. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, let us pay homage to the Tripajam. Buddhang pujemi, Dhammang pujemi, Sanghang pujemi. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, together we shall invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to administer to us the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Ahang bante sangsara vatta dukkhato moccanattaya tisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante. Dutiyampi ahang bante sangsara vatta dukkhato moccanattaya nisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante. Tatiyampi ahang bante sangsara vatta dukkhato moccanattaya nisaranena saha pancha silang dhammang yacchami anukkahang katva silang deta me bante.
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panchasila. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu miccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kamesu miccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapama dattana veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Surameraya Majjapama Dathana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami
Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami Imani pancha sikkhapadani samadhiyami
Appamadena sampadeta
Amabante Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Buddhanusati, recollection of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anodaro purisa dhamma sarati tadeva manosanang buddho bhagavati Dhammanusati, recollection of the Dhamma. Soakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanayiko pachatang veditapo vigyohiti Sanghanusati, recollection of the Sangha. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Ujjapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samici patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yogani atta purisa pogala Isa bhagavato savaka sangho Ahuneyo, pahuneyo, dakineyo, anjali karaniyo, anotara punyaketa lokasati. Chettiya Vandana, salutation to the Holy Shrine. Vandami chetiyang sabbang sabbatane supatititang saririkadatu mahabodhing buddha rupang sakalang saddha Bodhi Vandana, salutation to the Bodhi tree. Yasamole nisinova sabari vijayang akan pato sab Banyutang Satang Vandetang Bodhipadapang Ime te mahabodhi lokanat tena pujitan aham pite namasami bodhiraja namatute. Padipa Puja, offering of light. Ganasarapaditena dipena tamadansina Tilokadi pangsambuddhang pujayami tamonudhang. Dhupa Puja, offering of incense. Gandha sambarayotena dupenahang sugandhinam pujaye pujaneyantang puja bhajanamuttamang. Pupa Puja, offering of flowers. Vanaganda gunopetang etang kusuma santating pujayami munindasam sripada saroruhe. Ojemi buddhang kusume nanena punyena mettena cha hotu mokang pupamilaya tiyata idang me kayo tataya divinasa bhavang. Paniya Puja, offering of water. Adhivase no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patigan hatu mutamang. Asking for forgiveness. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame bante buripanya tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame dhamma sanditika akalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo Buddhaya, Pande, brothers and sisters in the Dharma, good morning. This morning we are very pleased to have Venerable Dr. Dhammapada to be first again in our Sunday Puja. Venerable Dr. Dhammapada will be giving a Dhamma talk in both English and Mandarin on a topic I think many of us will be interested to listen to. And if you have any questions pertaining to this talk, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, you may type your questions in the comment section. We shall then invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapada to reply to your questions after the talk. However, due to time constraint, we might not be able to answer all questions. I think most of us, if not all, already know Venerable Dr. Dhammapada very well. But for those who may be new with him, let me introduce the Venerable. Venerable Dr. Dhammapada was born in Kuching in 1970. He was ordained in Wat Chong Kedah in 1994 under the most respected Chau Kun Praraj Dhammatara, who was a chief Samis Nayaka in Malaysia. Subsequently, he sought spiritual dependence under the guidance of Pandey Dhammasakaro Mahathero. He spent 15 years studying Buddhist philosophy, Pali and Sanskrit literatures in Sri Lanka and in Hong Kong. In 2009, Venerable Dr. Dhammapada obtained his doctorate of philosophy in Buddhist studies under the supervision of the famous professor Venerable K.L. Dhamajoti in the University of Hong Kong. After his graduation, he was appointed as a chief editor and spiritual director for the Buddhist Door website, one of the oldest and largest Buddhist websites in the world. In 2010-2013, he was a visiting assistant professor at the Center of Buddhist Studies, the University of Hong Kong. He traveled frequently conducting meditation retreats, Dhamma talks, and teachings in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. Venerable Dr. Dhammapada is now the abbot of Brahma Vihara Monastery and Retreat Center, Malacca, and is also a monastic advisor of the Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. 各位佛友们，大家吉祥。今天我们很开心的请到法护比丘为我们佛法开示，题目是前行祈愿，邀请众生有哪些？为什么？Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, with deep respect, we invite Venerable Dr. Dhammapada to begin the Dhamma talk on the invitation of deities. Who are they and why? With deep respect, we invite Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Namo Buddhaya, a very good morning. So I will talk on this subject, right? An invitation of deities, right? So generally we thought deities are enjoying, right, the happy life in heaven, but this is not the case, right? One day, due to the exhaustion of karma in heaven like us, again, they will suffer and be reincarnated in the lower realms of existences. So the origins start with the Sakadeva Raja, who is the Lord of the Tawatimsa. The Lord of 33 heavens. He came down to see the Buddhas and expressed, the gods worried and unsatisfactory. Then the Buddha knew their concern and addressed the monk, or called the monk, whenever there is an assembly of Dhamma, to invite deities to come listen to the noble teaching. And after the end of listening to the teaching, don't forget to share merits with the gods and sentient beings. Then from there on, it has become the customs of Buddha's disciple to invite, the deities, including all sentient beings, to come and listen to the Buddha's teaching and share merits and rejoice with them. So the one that you saw, right, is Parikamma, right, a very short verse of invitation of deities. Okay, so here I will recite once. Samanta Chakavalesu Atraga Chantu Devata Sadamang Munirajas Sunantu Sakamokadang Sage Kame Cherupe Girisikaраtate Chantalike Vimane Diperan Techagame Taruvanagahane Gehavat Tom Hekete Bhummachayantu Deva Jalatala Visame Yakagan Dapanaga Titanta Santikeyang Munivarvachanang Sadavome Sunantu Sage Dhamma Savanakalo Ayang Badanda Dhamma Savanakalo Ayang Badanda Dhamma Savanakalo Ayang Badanda. So here is the translation, right? So in the Theravada tradition, right, before we start any protective blessing, right, in a ceremony, we usually chant this verse of invitation of devas, right, inviting the guardian deities from the galaxies, right, the devas who lived in the Kama Dhatus or Rupa Dhatus, right, or on the peaks and the mountain, in palaces, in the sky, in an island, right, countries and towns, in groves and trees and fields, all to come and listen to the teachings of the Buddhas for their accumulation of merits and rebirth, in heaven or higher heaven and attaining Nibbana. And these guardian devas are usually worldly spirits or earthly devas. We invite them to listen to the Buddha's teaching. We hope they can protect the world and protect the teachings of the Buddhas, to free the world from disasters, to protect the people from harms and dangers, right? So here is the meaning, right? From all around the galaxies, may the devas come here. May they listen to the true dhammas of the King of Sages, leading to heaven and emancipation. Those in the heavens of sensuality and form, of peaks and mountain, in a precipice, in palaces floating in the skies, in islands, countries, and towns, in groves of trees and thickets around home sites and field. Okay, then and the earth devas, spirits, Gandharvas, and Nagas in water or land or in the uneven land or standing nearby. May they come and listen with approval as I recite the word of the excellent sage. And this is the time to listen to the Dhamma. 那一般来说呢，我们认为，天神呢，都是在天堂，享受他们的快乐生活。但其实呢，事情并不是这样的，终有一天呢，他们当他们在天界这个业力耗尽的时候呢，他们还是会投胎到这个下界受苦的。于是呢33天的这个帝释天王那么来拜见佛陀，那以表达就是这个天神的忧虑跟他们的痛苦。于是呢，佛陀呢就吩咐呢比丘们，就是每当有诵经或者是听经的法会的时候呢，我们要邀请诸天神来听闻这个佛法，然后呢听完这个佛法之后呢，也不要忘了与他们分享 跟所有一切众生分享这个功德。那从那个时候开始呢，就有这种邀请诸天神来聆听佛法的祈愿文，那么也以他们分享佛法的喜悦，那同时让他们获得功德，还有去向解脱。当然我们祈愿这些天神听闻呢这个佛法之后呢他们也能够保护这个世间，使我们这个世间呢免于这个灾难保护人民免受伤害和危险保护佛教。所以呢，这个祈愿文刚才念的巴利文呢，它的中文大概是这样的，就是愿宇宙间诸天来迟，愿他们聆听摩尼王就是指我们的释迦牟尼佛和摩尼王，去向天界以解脱。那欲界以色界天山巅断崖天宫州主乡间城镇树丛之中春野周围的天众所以呢，这里指的这个天众呢，不一定是在天界的在我们人世间这些地方都住着很多这些天众，还有那些地居神水陆荒郊的夜叉钱达婆龙族在我持诵这个殊胜的这个摩尼之经时呢，愿他们前来聆听赞叹所以呢，尊者们这是闻法的时刻了。Okay, so who are these deities, right? And why we want to invite them, right? So in this the recitation of inviting the guardian deities, there are mentioned 4 types of the worldly, the spirits and deities. They are called non-human, right? Amanusa. And this recitation also mentioned places where they lived. And these 4 classes of non-humans, what we call generally is earthly devas, right? Earthly devas, they are half devas, half gods or half human, right? And who are they? They are the yaka, usually we translate as the spirits. They look like ghosts, right? But they are not ghosts, right? But anyway, we call them spirits, or heavenly musician, right? Or Gandharvas and Nagas, right? And of course, including the earthly devas. So these guardian deities, right, are guarded by 4 heavenly kings, right? Or we call the 4 guardian kings. Their leaders, these 4 guardian devas, their leaders are 4 heavenly kings. Then, when you talk about these 4 heavenly kings, right, they are the lowest realms of heaven, right, in the sphere of sensual pleasure, in Kamadhatu. And they are the kings, right, in charge of different, earthly devas, right, earthly gods. And they control, right, the worldly spirits and deities of 4 directions, of the earth. So, who are they, right? So they are, the sutta mentioned, they are the Gandharvas, right, Nagas, lower devas, right? And of course, these lower devas here are Kumbanda, exactly, who are they is still very controversial, right? Some say, it is a class of Ashura, or some say it is a class of the Peta, right? So as to Peta or Ashura is not fixed yet, not sure yet, right? And also, lastly, is Yaka. Okay, for example, you see in this, in the eastern direction, right? In the east direction, the king is called the Datarata, right? He holds what they call the music instrument, right? Mandolin, music instrument, and controls, Gandharvas. You see, they controls, the celestial, they were musician. Then in the west direction, right? The king is called Virupaka. He hold the snake, right? Hold the snake and controls the Nagas. Okay. Then in the southern direction, the king Viruhaka. he holds the sword, right, and controls the kumbandas. Okay, or they also controls the Pedas, some say. Then in the north direction, the king Vesavana, he holds the umbrella and controls the yak. So, in Chinese, Mahayana Buddhism, they also talk about the 8 classes of gods and worldly spirits, or usually we call them Dharma protectors, right? I also mentioned, right? In addition to, the 4 guardian deities that mentioned earlier, you see 4 others deities are also added, to make up the total of 8 classes of gods and worldly spirits, right? So here you can see, right, it includes the devas, right? Nagas, Yaksha, Asura, Gandharva, Garuda, right? King Nara, and Mahoraga. Okay, maybe this name is very unknown to you, but it's okay. I think you heard of Garuda, isn't it? Yeah, Garuda is a kind of bird. Huh? And yeah, you also heard of many others, right? Okay. 那我们来看4大天王。那么刚才讲的这些天神呢，有哪些天神呢？为什么我们要这样子做呢？所以我们来了解一下。就是在这个前行祈愿就是邀请众神的这个祈愿文里面呢，特别提到就是有4种世间的神明当然我们统称他们为非人阿曼努瑟然后呢，在这个祈愿文里面也提到呢，就是他们所居住的地方。那么这4类呢，非人就是刚才提到的，就是钱达婆啦这钱达婆就是我们讲的天界的音乐神，还有就是龙神呢这个龙神就是还有包括就是我们讲的这个还有哪里公班的就是我们讲的守护神他们可能是守护这个生灵然后3月宝藏的这个守护神，还有这个夜叉。那么这4个守护神呢，是由这个天神由这个4大天王统治。所以呢，我们知道就是4大天王天呢，就是欲界天界里面最低的这个天神他们守护这个世间4个方向的这些鬼神等等那么当然我们讲到这个4大天神的这些所居住的这些居民呢，他们都是属于这个一半人一半神，因为他们又住在人间又住在天上，所以我们讲说他们是半人半神这样的一个有情众生。那么这4大天王呢就统治这些我们讲这些半人半神的这个众生而这些众生呢，就是在我们的这个4大方向就是在我们所居住的这个空间所以呢有提到的就是在东方就是有这个持国天王他们管理这个钱达婆那么在南方广目天王他们统治这个守护神那么当然讲到这个守护神呢，就是守护那些生灵守护那些3月或者是宝藏的这些神。那么在西方这个有这个广目东西南北就是广目天王就是统治这个龙神还有在这个北方就是多闻天王他们统治这个夜叉。所以呢，在这个北传佛教呢他们提到了这个天龙八部就是除了我们讲的这4个之外呢，还提到另外4个天神他们就包括天啦、龙、夜叉、钱达婆就是刚才我们提到的这4种还有就是阿修罗也包括在内，然后还有银楼罗紧那罗，还有就摩呼罗影那么这些都是在我们人间跟天界就在我们这个空间所居住的这些以天跟龙为首的其他6种这些众生一共就是有8种。So first of all, these deities, right, are belonging to the lower devas. And of course, Buddhists never pray for them for worldly gains. And of course, we know that they all have certain psychic power, right? But however, their psychic power is their natural, natural born. You see, with all these psychic power. However, they're still considered as an ordinary being. And you know why? Because they still have defilements. They have anger and desire. Even they have difficulties in life. They know that at the exhaustion of karma, they will be reborn in the lower realms of existences. And of course, they have fears and worry. So what we can do is to invite them to listen to the Dhammas and to rejoice merits with them and radiate loving kindness and compassion with them, right? And in return, we hope they can protect the Buddha's teaching. Then someone might curious, usually we will offer food, you see, to them. Anyway, here, they, to tell you they do not need our worldly food. Their food is more delicate than us in the world. So what we can do is to share merits with them, will do, you see. So need not to offer food. Though we say, they do not need to offer food, to these deities, but there is a types of being, right, who live in our surrounding, right? We call them probably the blessed ghost, right? And they can enjoy the food that offered by their living relatives and friends. So these specific types of ghosts is called the Paradatupa Jivina. It means, the ghosts who live on the gifts, right, of others. And they are able to enjoy the food and merit is transferred to them by their living friends and relatives so that they can pass on, to a better life. So if we look at this deities background, these deities are very pre-Buddhistic. And these deities, you see, have their roots in the Vedic tradition, right? In the ancient, Vedic tradition. However, they are worshipped, right, even by our Buddhist peoples. Even now today, they are considered as, guardian deities who can give us, specific types of protection. 那么首先呢，这些众神呢，都是属于比较低下的我们讲的这个天神。那佛教徒呢，从来不向他们祈求任何世俗的利益啊。我们讲说这些天神啊，虽然他们有一些神通，当然这种神通是他们生出来就有的哈，但毕竟他们还是凡夫啊，他们还是有烦恼啊，他们还是有嗔心，还有欲望所以呢，我们讲说他们其实还是自身难保因为呢，当他们在享受就是他们的业就是他们的业耗尽之后呢，他们会知道他们将会堕落到这个恶趣所以呢，他们的内心还是存有这种恐惧、害怕的。所以呢，我们可以做到的就是呢，邀请他们听闻佛法，和他们一起来分享这个功德，随喜这个功德。还有呢，我们可以做的也可以呢，就是发展开展我们这个慈爱慈悲给他们。那当然，同时呢，我们也希望就是他们能够保护呢佛陀的教法所以当然我们一般我们会取请的时候呢，我们也可能会供养一些食物所以我们讲说这些众生呢，他们其实是不需要我们所提供的食物的，因为他们不需要这些世俗的食物，因为他们天上的食物呢，比我们这个世俗的食物呢更加的微妙虽然我们是这样子讲，但呢，在这些众鬼神只有一类的这些众生呢，其实他们还是可以获得就是亲友们所供养的食物那之前我们有谈到的就是有一些鬼神就是他们其实在寻找食物那这些鬼神其实就是一些鬼类的众生。那么这些鬼类的众生呢，其实有一些是很有福报的鬼类众生那么这一类的鬼类的众生呢，我们称为这个依他施火命鬼那么这一类的鬼神呢，他们就住在我们的这个周围而且呢，这些鬼神呢，通常都是亲戚来的，就是就是我们的亲戚，对不对虽然他们对再生有一种很强的这个执着所以呢，他们会在我们的这个四周围出现那也期望就是我们这些家属可以呢供养给他们一些食物，或者是与他们分享功德。 那么我们再看看哈这些鬼神的这些背景呢，其实我们不难发现呢，这些鬼神的存在啊，这些思想哈，都源自于古印度的这个吠陀的思想。那后来呢，佛教也采纳这一类的思想。那当然到现在呢，我们佛教徒也当来膜拜那也希望呢，他们能够给予保护还有就是成为守护神。Now we look at the first type, okay? The first one is devas, right? And there are two types of ghosts. Two types of devas, okay? Two types of devas. And the first types is gods, okay, living in the lower heaven, or gods residing on the ground, right? And they include the Chatu Maharaja devas and Tawatimsa devas, right? There are 6 heavens, right, in the sphere of sensuality. You know, the first two, right, the Chatu Maharaja and the Tawatimsa, are considered the earthly gods, right? They live on the ground. Of course, you know, these gods, you know, are very busy. Why? Because all the time they engage, right, in fighting with the Asuras. And I think, you know, Asuras, right? You know, some tradition says Asuras also include, you know, in the wholesome realms, right? And they also include among the devas. And we know that they are, you know, opponents of the devas, right? Of these 4 heavenly kings and the gods of 33. Because these Asuras, you know, their natures, you know, likes to engage in the war and the fighting with the devas. Okay, so now we look at the first one, Chatu Maharaja, right? And we know that, you know, this Chatu Maharaja, you see, is the lowest, you know, the heaven of the lowest heaven, right, of the Kamadhatu. They got the 4 direction of the earth. They got, you know, the 4 types of earthly gods, right? These gods are halfly human, you know, halfly gods, you see, like the Gandharva, Nagas, Yakshas, and Kumbhandas, right, and Garudas, you know, yeah, we have seen earlier. And then there is a types of ghosts, right? It's called the Tawatimsa devas, 33 devas. They live on the peak of Sumeru, right? And the chief is Sakadeva. And there was a story, right, of Sakadeva Raja, right, in his previous existences, when he was a human being, and called Magha. He was devoted, you know, generously, you know, building roads, you know, to help the people. And then, according to the commentary, he was a good leader who took great effort to improve the life of the people. And he also had, you know, 32 good friends to help him. So when they died, you see, they were all reborn in one heavenly planes, right? And of course, this level of heaven was later called Tawatimsa heaven, which means the heaven of 33 gods, right? And, you know, Sakadeva Raja and his friends, you see, when they were in the Tawatimsa, right, so a group of devas, right, they like to enjoy themselves and getting drunk, you know, in the process. Then they chase them up. Then from day on, you know, these ousted devas, you know, were called Asuras. Then as a result of this, you know, we can see a kind of enmity, anger developed between the 2 groups of devas. And they were constantly fighting among themselves. So you can see, you know, the heaven is not always very heaven, right? So when the number of Asuras, you know, increased in heaven, then the devas were very busy engaging, fighting with them, and they have no time to descend to the world to protect the world, right? That's why you can see that why the God likes, you know, the good people and protect the good people in the world, you know, so that these good people, when they die, they will surely reborn in heaven, and they can help to fight against the Asuras. You see, of course, you know, the Asura will be scared. Then the Tawatimsa heaven, right, the gods of 33, It appeared several times in the Buddhist stories, right? It says that the Buddha's ascends to the Tao Timsas, in order to express his gratitude to his mother. Then he preached in the Theravada tradition. He preached Abhidhamma to his mother, together with many other deities. Then, of course, his mother, we know that he was reborn in the Tushita heaven, right? His mother descended, from Tushita to the Tower Timsa to listen to the Buddha's teaching. And the second type is the gods living in the air. All right, or we can call them the upper heaven. And these upper heavens, they are suspended in the air up to the Brahma world of the Rupa Dhatu. So these deities are very happy because they are free from fighting with Asuras, right? And they are really happy. You see, you look at the term, you see, it's really tell you that all these upper heavens are very happy place, right? Like for example, like the Yama Devas, Tushita heaven, Devas, and Nimitta Rati Devas, right? Paranimitta Vasavati Devas. They are all supreme, blissful place. Okay, I think of these 4 devas, higher devas, I think Tushita heaven, right, is not unknown to you, right? We all know that, the Maitreya Buddhas, the Maitreya Bodhisattvas, who is now, residing in the Tushita heaven. And Gautama Buddha was also lived there before he was, born into the world to become the Buddhas. Then it is said in the Chakravarti Suttas of Digha Nikaya that the Maitreya Bodhisattvas will appear in the world, okay, to become the Maitreya Buddhas when human lifespan reaching 80,000 years. Okay, so 那我们简单来看一下，就是这个4大天神哈。那么第一类就是第一类呢，就是我们讲的这个地居天的天神啊，还有另一类呢，就是空居天的这个天神啊。地居天的天神呢，就是我们指的一些，包括我们民间所信仰的这些福德鬼神，还有包括这4大天王。好，那这个4大天王呢，是我们欲界天神天界最低的这个天。这里面有4大天王，那这个4大天王呢，掌管东南西北这4道方向，就是半神半人的这个有情众生。那他们管理这些夜叉、龙神、钱达婆，还有还有什么？还有就是一些阿修罗，或者是有一些有福报的这些鬼类众生。那地居天呢，除了这4大天王之外呢，还有包括这个33天的这个天众。当然讲到这33天呢，这个名字来源于一个传说，就是据说这有33位很发心的这个义工呢，在这个摩干玛格的这个带领之下呢，他们真的就是很发大心就是一起做大事，一起做善业，一起建造马路同时利益很多很多的众生。所以呢，这33位这些年轻人呢，他们死后也就一起呢往生在天界。那这摩干就是他们的领导呢，就成为这33天的这个天王。所以呢，我们也知道，就是佛陀呢觉悟之后呢，就是他为了要报答他父母恩呢，他也在这个33天为他的母亲和天人说法。那有些人可能会问，那阿修罗又是怎么一回事呢？他们也不是天神吗？对不对？其实我们讲阿修罗他们是天神之一，他们也包括在天神之中，但是呢，他们是4大天王和33天的这个天敌就是他们的敌人经常跟他们打架而且这个阿修罗这个本性呢，就是不断的从事战争就是以天人就是战斗所以呢，我们讲就是一旦这个阿修罗的人人数呢一多呢，那我们这个世界呢，天界呢，就真的就没法安宁了那还有呢，第二类的就第二种的这个天神，就是空居天的天神。 那么这空居天的天神呢，包括欲界天界的这个第3层天或以上的这个天界。为什么我们讲这些天界啊是这个空居天？因为这些地方呢是阿修罗呢没有办法到达的地方啊，所以呢也因为这样，所以天神呢他们在天界呢都过得非常非常的快乐啊。所以我们知道就是有夜摩天，有斗率天、他化了天，还有他化自在天。好，那么这里这4个天呢，可能大家比较熟悉的是这个斗率天了啊，或者是斗率天，斗率天。那么这个斗率天呢，就是我们讲的这个就是我们讲就是佛陀就是每一个未来在人间成佛的这些佛陀呢，在他们最后意识呢都会投身在这个斗率天就是他们在那里还继续完成他们是波罗蜜的资粮那么最后呢，他们会下来这个人间那么在这个长部的这个转轮王经也提到，就是我们未来佛，就是现在的弥勒菩萨呢出现呢他现在还是在斗率天修行那么他将在我们人类8万岁时期呢，将会出现在这个世间名为这个弥勒佛。So in the Dhammapada, right, 206 verse, it is recorded that the Buddha was critically ill before his death and suffered from what we call the diarrhea, right? The Sakadeva Raja, right, took care of the Buddhas, came down, right, descended to the world and took care of the Buddhas, and then cleaned, the sole of the Buddha's feet, with both hands, right, palms. The Buddha then told the heavenly king, I said, for heaven, the smell of human is as smelly as a rotten meat. Live here now. I have many bhikkhus to take care of me. Then the Sakadeva Raja replied to the Buddhas, oh blessed one, I still can smell your aromatic, what do you call, fragrant, a sense, right, outside of 84,000 miles away. Therefore, I came to take care of you, right? Although the gods regard the world as a pool of smelly place and avoid approaching the human, however, it is because of the virtue, the fragrance that cover the odors of the human body. So the gods are willing to get close and guide the good people who observe the good morality. So once you know these facts, you don't have to rely on any prayers or wear amulets, etc., etc. To percept the morality itself that you observed has this mighty power. Then the protected gods always love to guard the good people, and the good people who lead a holy life not only bring themselves the present happiness, but also future happiness. It's because of the existence of these good people, observing the morality, the world is still a good place for living, right? And there are gods willing to protect the world continuously. 那么在这个法句经有一段记载，就是佛陀呢当临命终时他染上了这个痢疾就是拉肚子那这个帝释天王呢就去照顾佛陀，然后呢以双掌就是来洗这个佛陀的这个脚底那佛陀就告诉这个天王说，他说对天人而言人类的气味呢有如腐烂的肉类一样难受，你赶快离开这里吧我还有弟子们在照顾我。那你知道天王怎么回答佛陀吗？他说，世尊在84000里以外呢我还可以闻到就是你芳香的这个气味所以呢让我来照顾你吧。虽然呢我们都知道就是天神呢会不喜欢就是视我们人间就是犹如这个粪糠一样所以呢他们都避免接近人类，但是因为呢我们讲说这个戒香能够掩盖人体的这个臭味所以呢这些天神他们其实呢是乐于亲近就是来拥护这些亲近戒行的善人们。那么我们明白了这一点之后呢，其实呢 我们学佛的人不需要靠任何什么祈求之类的或者是穿载什么佛牌之类的来保护其实戒本身呢就是有这样的一个威德力所以呢我们讲的这些护法神呢，其实他们爱守护这些有节德的人就是过着圣洁生活的善人呢，不仅给自己带来这个快乐，现世的快乐呢，也给自己带来未来的幸福快乐。因为呢，在这个世间有了这些善人就是手持这些清净戒呢，我们这个世界依然还是非常快乐，因为呢，还有这些天神守护着这个世间。Then the second group of earthly deities, right, is Yaka. So in most of the depiction, right, Yaka looks like ghost, right? If you look at the ghost, look at the Yaka, right? They looks like ghosts, right? They can frighten people away, right? That's why people call them ghosts, right? In fact, they are not ghosts, right? They are the demigods, right? It means that half god, half human. Then according to what the Bhikkhu says, they said the Yakas are fierce spirits, right? Very fearful spirits inhabiting in a remote area such as forests, hills, and abundant cave. And they are depicted as a hideous, mean and wrathful temperament. But when given offering and shown respect, they become benign, right? And may protect people rather than harming them. So this is a quote, I quoted from Bhikkhu Bodhi. Then Yaka, of course, we call them earthly devas, right? And of course, they live in wholesome realms. And if they have the opportunity to listen to the dharmas, right, they still can realize the path and fruition. 那我们来看第二类的神明呢，就是夜叉了就是其实很多人分不清楚呢，这些到底是鬼还是神那其实呢，这些夜叉呢，它不属于鬼，就是不属于鬼类。虽然我们说它的样子看起来像鬼不过你看那个缅甸的那个夜叉看起来就比较像人比较好看在泰国的那些夜叉呢，当然有一些雕塑的也很可爱但大部分呢还是看起来还是有点像鬼所以我们讲说这些夜叉呢，就是半人半神他们其实呢是住在这些一些散去的这个有情就是住在一些比较好的这个地方那这个菩提比丘他也有对这个解释对这个夜叉的解释，他说夜叉呢是凶猛的神灵虽然他说他是属于这些散去的众生，但他们是凶猛的神灵，他们居住在偏远的地区，比如说住在森林、丘陵或者是废墟的洞穴他们也被描绘成这个面目很狰狞，就看起来很恐怖或者是脾气非常暴躁当然我们讲这个夜叉呢，当他们被献祭的时候呢，就供奉的时候呢，或者是给予尊重的时候呢，他们就会变得温和那同时他们也会保护人类也不会伤害这个人类。所以呢，这个夜叉呢，其实他们是属于散去的有情众生所以呢，我们讲当他们有机会听闻佛法的时候呢，其实他们还是能够证得这个道果的。Okay, yakas, good and evil. Of course, the yakas like human beings, right? They also have good and some bad, you see. And the good one, right? They are the guardians of Buddhism or the disciples of the Buddhas who have been taking refuge in the Buddha Dharma and Sangha. And even some yakshas are already saints who live in the times of the Buddhas, whose names like Alawaka, Yaka, who were subdued by the Buddhas. And after hearing the Buddha's teaching, he realized the first fruition. He attained the first sainthood. And of course, another one is King Bimbisara, who was a great supporter of Buddhism. He was also reborn as a powerful yakshas and having supernatural powers. So don't think that yaksha is bad. Yaksha, in fact, they are much better than human beings, right? And when they have time to listen to the Buddha's teaching, they even can realize the fruition. But of course, the bad one is also like human being. The bad one is indeed very bad. 那我们来看这个夜叉，有善的也是有恶的啊。第二类的，所以这一个是第二类的这个护法神，就是我们讲的夜叉了。那么这个夜叉呢，其实与人类一样，就是也有善有恶。我们人类也是一样的哈，善的非常善良，恶的呢其实是糟透非常的糟透啊。所以呢，我们讲的这个善良的这个夜叉呢，其实是我们佛教的这个保护神来的，或者是那些已经皈三宝的这个佛弟子那么当然，这些夜叉也包括已经证道的这个圣者了比如说在佛陀时代有一个很出名昭彰的就是这个夜叉，那么叫做阿拉瓦克亚克 ，right？ 也因为被佛陀调伏之后呢，听闻佛法，然后证得出果。那另外一个呢，就是佛陀时代一个大护法，就是频婆沙罗王那这位呢，他虽然已经进入了这个圣流就是得获圣果呢，但投身在一个也很有威德，还有这个大神通力的这个夜叉所以呢，这里的夜叉呢不是我们想象的那么差的。其实这些夜叉他们都是过着的非常好的这个生活跟人一样好的人其实也是非常好的。Then the third group is Gandhabba, right? Gandhabba. And this Gandhabba is generally understood as musician, right? Then in Buddhist legend, right? Gandhabbas have, males and female, right? They have male and female. And they look like human being, right? Or even better than human being. For example, for the male Gandhabba, you see, they are the celestial musician, right? Who performs music, and of course, they don't eat the human food. They feed on fragrance. That's why when we offer the fragrant incense, you see, who come and come close to this, Gandhabba, because they like to smell the good fragrance. And of course, they live on top of the Mount Sumeru and serving the Sakadeva Raja. Okay, then for the female Gandhabba, right, they are what we call Apsara. They are called Apsara, right? And what is Apsara? Apsara is a gods of flying through the air, right? And it is like a flying image of heavenly gods. You see the flying, and usually you can see this kind of pictures, right, painted on the wall of ancient Buddhist temples, especially on the wall. And of course, some people thought that they are the Mara, tempted the Buddhas while he's striving for enlightenment, but it is not, right? They are the Dharma protectors. OK， 那第三种呢是乾塔婆，那有时候我们把它称为这个音乐神。所以我们看到的就是尤其是在印度教呢他们有一些神子呢，其实就是乾塔婆来的。他们很喜欢表演音乐，所以你看到呢，他们有一般信徒呢就喜欢玩这个音乐来供养这个乾塔婆这样子。那在佛教的传说了就乾塔婆可以分为男女两众那其实他们跟人长得很像而且呢相貌都比人长得更好看那么我们讲到这个男的这个乾塔婆呢他们就是音乐神来的，他们就是专表演音乐那么他们吃的不是我们人类吃的食物，他们是以芳香为食那他们也住在这个须弥山上就是侍奉这个第四天的这个月神之意那这个乾塔婆这个女性呢，就是我们称为飞天Apsara 飞天。所以呢，我们会看到的，在什么敦煌石窟或者是包括在印度的一些很古老的这些石窟里面呢，经常会在寺院或者是石窟里面这个墙壁上呢，就是绘画一些什么优雅就是一种飞翔形象就是你看到这些图片那当然很多人会错意就是以为这些飞神其实就是摩罗，其实不是他们其实就是我们佛教讲的这个守护神，他们不是摩罗。Then the fourth type is Naga, okay? So in each Asia, right, like in China and Japan, right, this Naga is portrayed as a dragon. Okay, and these Nagas, where they lived, right, they live in various parts of the human world, right? Some of them are water dwellers, right? They're living in the stream or living in the ocean, and others are the earth dwellers, right? They're living in the cave, and these Nagas, right? They protect the Devas, 33 Devas, particularly from the attack of the Asuras. So the famous Naga, right? The story is the Muchalinda, right? I think you have heard of this name, Muchalinda. He's a protector of the Buddhas, right? In the Vinaya Mahavagga, shortly after his enlightenment, the Buddha is meditating under the trees, right? When a great storm comes, this King Muchalinda, right, gave shelter to the Buddhas by covering the Buddha's head, with his 7 snake head. You can see this. Then, of course, there is a story, in our Upasampada process, in the high ordination. There's a record that the Nagas, pretended as a human and attempted to become a monk. And of course, was asked, ultimately, asked to leave the order by the Buddhas, as he did not meet the qualification of being a human being, okay, manusa. So in many Buddhist temples, you find this naga, in the form of dragon, decorated, on the roof or on the wall. The Chinese people like dragon, right? Because the dragons in our Chinese tradition represent power, creativity, right, wisdoms, and good fortune. 那第4种呢，就是龙，我们叫龙族吧，那这个龙族呢，在巴利文、梵文跟巴利文叫 naga， 就是有龙跟蛇的这2种意识啊。我们华人不喜欢蛇，我们喜欢龙哈。所以呢，佛教传入中国之后呢，也将龙呢翻译成将 naga， 就是翻译成这个龙啊。当然印度人呢就将这个 naga 翻译成蛇。所以你会发现到呢，有蛇有龙的出现，其实就是 naga 的意思。不管它是龙或者是蛇我们都把它称为这个龙族吧。那龙族它生活在哪里呢？其实是我们人类居住的这个地方，比如说有一些水栖动物就是住在这个溪流或者是河流，或者是在海洋那有些是住在这个地球的陆地上住在一些洞穴里面。这个龙族呢，他也是这4大天王的部下就是他们的追随者所以呢，他们守护这个须弥山，就是保护这33天的天神呢，免受这个阿修罗的攻击了。所以呢，我们也知道，就是这个熟悉的，就在律典里面就是记载佛陀在他成道不久之后呢，有一场大风暴来临。那佛陀当时还在这个菩提树下打坐禅坐禅定。那有一位龙神呢，他名字叫木扎林的就是非常慈祥的，然后呢就来到佛陀的这个头顶上就是现出7个舌头就是遮住呢在菩提树下禅坐的这个佛陀的头让佛陀呢能够安全的度过这个暴风雨。那另外呢，一件事件呢，就在我们出家受大戒的时候呢，一些龙族他们其实也会扮成人就是企图呢转入这个僧团出家的这个记载。也因为呢这些龙族他们是非人这种特殊的身份呢，不符合这个人的资格，而被佛陀呢季节加入这个僧团。所以呢，在我们亚洲这寺院里面就是我们会看到有龙的这个装饰他们会装饰在这个屋顶上墙壁上等等的就是非常的好看。我们华人喜欢龙呢，那是因为龙它代表力量它代表一种创造力，代表一种智慧，当然代表好运是这样的意思。Okay, when we talk about these 4 guardian deities, right? They are guarded by these 4 heavenly kings, right? And these 4 heavenly kings, they are enshrined in the main gate of the temple, right? They guard the 4 direction, right? And controlling, 4 different, guardian deities like Yakshas, Gandharvas, Nagas, right? And the Earth Devas. Very interesting, isn't it, right? So it is also very interesting to find the suttas, right? Particularly in the suttas called the Chatu Maharaja suttas, that the king, right? These 4 kings will come to the world and survey the world and during the Uposatha days, right? Approximately the 8th, 15, 23, and the last day of the end of the lunar calendar, to see whether human beings observe, these these meritorious deeds. For example, whether human pay respect to the parents or pay respect to the monks or Brahmins, right, or family elders, and to come to check whether human observe the 8 precepts on the first and 8 precepts during these uposathas, or whether human perform meritorious deeds. Then, of course, after surveying the world, this 4th heavenly king will announce, will report their finding to the Tawatimsa Devas. So why there is this belief? That is because the gods want to know, right? If there are good people observing the wholesome deeds in the world, then they will reborn to heaven. When you say good people, the sutta specifically mention this meritorious action, people who observe, people who pay respect to the parents, observing the 8 precepts and doing meritorious deeds. So if there are good practices in the world, and if there are still good people living a holy life, the God will be very happy, because in the future, there will be more people reincarnated in the heavens. So the number of gods will be more than the Asuras. Then they will not be afraid of Asuras. Then as a result, these guardian deities will be continuing, guarding the world, from this evil, these yakshas, interference. And ensures that, we live in a very peaceful world, the rain, drops at the proper time, and the world is free from the harms and diseases. 那我们谈完这4种天神就是我们讲的这4种，我们来看这4大天王，其实蛮有意思的，因为在我们一部经里面呢，就是在这部经里4大天王经就是有提到，就是每逢这个布萨日呢，就是在我们的农历大概初8、15、23跟月底的这一天呢，4大天王会派遣就是属下或者他亲自前来人间巡查这个人们的德行，那看看人们有没有行布施、行善啊、持戒啊，或者是行这些善业啊，有没有孝顺父母啊，有没有尊敬师长啊、长辈啊，或者尊敬三宝，对出家有没有恭敬等等。然后呢，他们就会收集这些资料呢，就会向着33天的第10天王，就是报告我们人间的情况。为什么这4大天王要巡查人间呢？其实不难了解，就是如果我们人间还有很多这些行善的人在行善法呢，那么还有很多人在过着这些圣人的生活，那这些天神其实他们就非常的欢喜，因为呢他们将来呢将会投身在这个天界，这样的话呢，天神就数量呢就会多过这阿修罗了。我们知道阿修罗就是天敌嘛，所以呢，他们一旦天神多了，他们就不会怕这个阿修罗的欺负，那这样的话呢，这个众天神也会继续的守护这个世间，不让这个夜叉来干扰，所以呢，这样的话呢，我们世间将会风调雨顺，没有灾难。So I think now you have question in mind, right, to ask why the world become so unfavorable place for people to live now, right? As many scientists have suggested, to migrate to outer space like Mars. I think they have reasons for that, right, or to say that. And I find in one of the suttas, Adamika suttas on Anguttara also say the same thing. It says, when the king or government is not righteous, right, then the government servant are also not righteous. People are not righteous. Then what will happen? You see, the courses of the moon and sun, will become erratic. Then what will happen? The season and years become erratic. That is the climate change, And And then after that, what will happen? The deities, start getting angry. Then what will happen? The heaven don't provide enough rain. The crops ripen erratically. As a result, people become short-lived, ugly, weak, and sick. So if people in the world are not righteous, become more and more greedy, did not observe precepts, do evil deeds, no longer filial piety to the parents, no longer respecting the teachers, elders, okay? Then, of course, when they pass away, there will be less people reborn in heaven, and more people will be reborn in the asuras, in the ghosts, in the beasts, in the animals, or in hell. Then at that time, the God will no longer be happy with the world. Then as a result, people in the future will have to face various natural disasters and calamities, right, such as droughts, right, famines, or pandemic, right, and wars, fighting. So it is said that the yaksha will be rampant, eating the people. So this is exactly what we are facing now. People don't care, of their bad morality. You see, they are very greedy, very corrupted mind. As a result, climate change. And we suffer, of course, now from these unprecedented diseases called this COVID-19. And the many world leaders are talking about how to protect the earth, but they never talk about the transformation of the mind, such as through the observation of morality, doing the meritorious, wholesome action, the purification of mind, to transform the mind. Yeah, because the Buddha says very clearly, the external world is just a projection of the mind. Right? So I think this is time for us to act urgently. The Buddha says, by purification of mind, such as cultivating good deeds and morality, by spreading the loving kindness, then with the change of the mind of the people, the external physical world will eventually change to a better place to live in, and the Dharma protectors will continue to protect the world. 我想大家心里都有一个问题，就是我们世界呢变得越来越不适合人类居住了，所以很多科学家也在警告我们，就是我们需要呢在外太空寻找适合人类居住的星球，比如说他们现在在探测的这个火星等等。那这是科学家呢他们都非常关切的这个任务啊。我想科学家呢会提出这样子移民外太空啊，其实它是原因的。他们看到我们这个地球呢已经不再适合人类居住了哈。所以呢我们在经典其实我们也有发现到，就是佛陀也对这个课题也有讨论。就这个在这个真智部里面有讨论，就是佛陀呢对弟子们说他说无论在何时呢，就是当一个王者就是统治者呢在行非法的时候呢，那他的官员也会跟随着行非法。OK， 那么人民城市村落的人也会一个接一个的在行非法。那这个到时会怎么样呢？我们这个日月呢这个运转呢就会出现问题了星序运行呢就会错乱了我们这个什么昼夜回转非正。OK， 那月半之月呢转替不正年距循环不正，那风在不恰当的时候吹，不平等的吹，在不当的地方吹，那所以呢这导致这个天神在愤怒那天不止不正常的下雨，那世间会出现什么呢？这个旱灾饥荒，人人寿命短暂那容貌也长得非常难看个个体弱多病所以我们看到的情况就是这样。所以每当人们的品德呢在每况愈下呢那么会使到我们这世间越来越多的人呢就不怕这些戒的，就是个个都非常的奸贪，就是非常的吝啬，然后破坏这些戒就是行这些恶法也不再孝顺父母，不再尊敬师长等等等等的。所以呢也导致我们这个地球呢也开始转变了还有这些疾病的肆虐。所以呢现在呢正是我们地球所面对的这个严峻挑战 那很多国家呢，领袖在讨论就是如何保护这个地球，但他们从来没有谈到内心的进化、道德的提升、人心的向善等等的转变的课题。所以听到这里呢，我们是不是先要从自己改变起呢？不求他人。其实外在的世界呢，就是我们内心的这个心理的这种投射。所以佛陀说呢，只要透过我们内心的进化呢，积极在行善的话呢，那么还有遵守这些戒律道德，就是发展慈悲，那我们这个世界呢，也将因为你而变得更好了。龙天护法也会爱你然后护持你，还有包括你所居住的地方。OK， 所以呢，我的这个 Dharma Talk 到此为止。So I leave it to Brother Chim.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Bante, for the very interesting and very informative Dharma talk this morning. They give us a better insight of the nature of the different type of heavens and the nature of the different heavenly beings in the different heavens. But I think many of us probably need to know a lot more because we don't have this opportunity to take a trip to the heavens to find out what's happening there and then come back to the human world. So I think we probably have a lot of questions from the devotees. All right. So we now have the Q&A sessions. Brother Alfred, is there any questions? Yeah. The first question, Bande. It is a tradition of many to consecrate deities at home, and they pray to the deities as gods. What is Bante's opinion on this? Is it necessary to consecrate or opening of like Hoi Kong, the deities?
Okay, yeah, Hoi Kong, open the light. But I think English word is a consecrate. So Chinese people generally, believe in Buddhism. And of course, Chinese people, though they believe in Buddhism, but they cannot distinguish between the deities and the Buddhas, right? And of course, from the standpoints of Buddhism, right, Buddha statues do not need to be consecrated. However, right, most people, perhaps influenced by the traditional Chinese belief, the thinking is that if the Buddha statues are enshrined in the family, not consecrated, right, then the Buddha statues do not have power. I think, first of all, we have to understand that the meaning of offering, to the Buddha statue. The Buddha is our great teachers, right? They enlighten us through Guang, light of wisdom. Not the other way around, right? Not we enlighten the Buddhas, right? So the Buddha, we never kai Guang. We never open the light for the Buddha because you see. So, and of course, in Chinese belief, right, they worship the gods, right? And of course, when they want to enshrine the gods, then they will choose a good day, an auspicious day, to consecrate before they can be properly enshrined, right? And they believe that the gods that have been properly enshrined will not attract the external spirits, come to attach their body. So similarly, we do not need to consecrate the god either, right? Of course, someone may ask if the gods already enshrined in the house, right? Like by your forefather, you can put there, right? What you can do is to show your respect, to the gods and share the merits with them, spread the loving kindness with them. And we must understand that no matter how great the mighty of these gods are, they are still ordinary beings, and they also have their own troubles. And of course, what we can do is to show respect to them, spread the loving kindness, and share merits with them. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, Bante, for your advice. We go for the second question. From Craig and Coast Buddhist Association, Brother Chan. Can all the Dewa from all different levels come to the earth to listen to the Dharma from the monks? Or only certain Devas can come to the earth? If so, and why must the Buddha go up to Tawatimsa heaven to give talks? And those from Tusita heaven come down there to listen to Dharma talks. Can those devas come down to earth instead of Buddhas went up to the heavens?
I think we have to understand two things. You see, of course, when we invite the devas coming from all the universe, come to listen to the Dhammas. You see, we invite, right? But as to whether the Buddha go out to Tawatimsa, to preach Dhamma to his departed mother, that is another story. Because the Buddha says, you see, want to express his gratitude. That's why the Buddha went up and looked for his mother. You see, so I think that is another story. You see, but when we talk about inviting the devas, irrespective from where they are, we just invite them. As to whether they come or not, I think that is another story. Okay, yeah. So
okay, thank you, Pande. Okay, one more question. I think due to time constraint, this will be the last question from Brother Ping Chia. Sister, how come we have good and bad yakas? If they are bad, how can they become yakas?
same question. You see, the Buddha says, born in human being can attain enlightenment. You see, so for many heaven dwellers, they will regard our human place as a very blissful place. You see, but yet our human also dwell a lot of bad people. So similarly for the yakas, you see, the yaka though they belong to the wholesome realms, but they are still good and bad yakas. Okay. So same, if you imagine that our human being, then you can understand what the yaka is all about. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, I think Pande question is short and sweet. Maybe you still got time for one more question, one more last bonus question. Brother Alfred, can we have one more last question? I saw this question from Lim Kim Heng, Brother Lim Kim Heng. Pande, you mentioned that the devas of Chatu Maharaja and Tawatimsa lives on the ground at Mount Sumeru. Is Mount Sumeru located on earth but not visible to human beings?
Yeah, usually the Mount Sumeru here refer to the Himalaya. Okay, of course the name Himalaya appeared recently. Those days they didn't call Himalaya. They called Mount Sumeru, right? So here the Mount Sumeru is referred to Himalaya. Okay, yeah, they are visible to us.
Okay, thank you so much, Pande, for your very interesting talk this morning and also the very good answers to our good questions. I think this morning talks give us a very good insight on the nature of the different heavens and the nature of the different beings, heavenly beings, and also the king of the different heavenly beings, the different heavens, whom we call gods. Thank you so much, Pande, for the very insightful talk this morning. On behalf of the devotees, we convey a heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Pande. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, River Dr. Tapapala, for the very interesting talk on deities. We all just love such kind of talks, which we were very exposed at a very young age when we go to the temple with our parents. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, this morning we have participated in the Sunday Buddha Puja service, listening to Venerable's talk. With the merits accrued, let us invite the Venerable Dr. Dhammapala to lead us in a dedication of merits to all sentient beings, families, relatives, friends, and to the departed ones. The dedication of merits to include all the frontliners, example the doctors and nurses, and to those who are suffering from the effects of COVID-19. Venerable.
Patidana, transference of merit. Akasata cha bhummata devanaga mahidika punyang tang nanumoditva chirang rakantu loka sasanam จิรังรักกันตุเดสนังจิรังรักกันตุมังปรังเอตาวตาเชอัมเหหิสัมปดาปุญญสัมปดังสัพเพเดวาสัพเพบุตตาสัพเพสัตตาอนุโมดันตุสัพพสัมปติสิทธิยาอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิดังเมญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหนตุญาตโยอิมินาปุญญกรรมเมนะมาเมบาลสมากโมสัตตังสมากโมโหตุยาวนิบานปาติยาอิดังเมปุญญังอาสาวะขยาวะหังโหตุอิดังเมปุญญังนิบานัสปัจจโยโหตุสาธุสาธุสาธุ
Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, please continue to express our thanks to Venerable Dr. Dhammapala. Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, before we end, let us pay homage to the Triple Gem. Buddhang Pujemi, Dhammang Pujemi, Sanghang Pujemi. Thank you to all Dhamma friends from various locations. Thank you very much for participating in this morning Sunday Buddha Puja service. To those who have stayed until to the dedication of marriage, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And we have come to the end of this number 60 online Sundays Buddha Puja service. The next Buddha Puja service will be on the following Sunday, 26th of September. You may refer to your society's Facebook for the poster for the information. It may be good that you share the link or poster to your family members and friends. Remember to follow the SOP to stay safe. May you and family be safe, well, happy, and peaceful always. Sukhi hontu, sabbe sattha, sukhita hontu.
Bahung sahan semabhinim mitesayudantang ngirimi kelang uditego Sasene marang Dana di dhamma vidhi